Welcome back. The next three chapters are going to be really short, so I'm going to be reading them all in this video. So, chapter 28. On Tuesday afternoon, Dana drove down to Orlando Airport to meet Brittany's return flight. It delighted her that Brittany was as happy to see her as she was to see Brittany. "Mommy, you look really good," Brittany said as they waited at the luggage carousel for her bags to appear. "Things must be going well with the company." "Not really," Dana admitted. CDM was faced with a difficult situation. One of the local medical centers had approached them about doing overflow work. She hadn't wanted to accept the contract because she feared they wouldn't be able to keep up, but both Cece and Norrell voted against her, not wanting the growth opportunity to go to one of their competitors. It was the most heated argument the three partners had had yet, and Dana still felt very apprehensive about how they would manage the workload. "But I do have some good news," she said. "We have a new tenant. She'll be moving in next month, a junior at UNF. She, or I guess her parents, are paying for the whole semester up front. Isn't that great?" "That's good, Mom. I figured you'd get another tenant when college classes started." Brittany had all the latest news about Kenny's cousin and childhood friends, and she chattered all the way home from the airport. "So, what have you been doing while I was away?" she finally asked as they entered the house with her suitcase. Dana took a deep breath. "Brittany, there's something I have to tell you." "What is it, Mom?" "While you were away, I started seeing someone." "I thought you were through with stuff like that. You went out a couple of times with some guy back in May, and then you stopped all of a sudden." Dana suppressed a smile. When she was Brittany's age, she too would have thought people her parents' age too old for stuff like that. "This is different, Britt. That other time was just a couple of days. This one has already lasted longer. There's no such thing as a standard relationship. Each one is different." "So do I get to meet the guy this time?" "You already know him. It's Mr. Albacete." "Vanessa's daddy?" Dana smiled. "You know another man named Albacete?" "Mom, wow. You and Mr. Gill? I can't picture it. It's been a long time since he was with Miss Irene, but I still remember. It seems weird that he's with you now." "Well, Mr. and Mrs. Albacete were married, so the terms 'with' has a different context altogether," Dana said dryly. "He and I are just dating. We're having a lot of fun together, but we didn't plan for it to happen. We realize the situation has a high degree of sensitivity and that there are other people involved. Miss Irene might not like it, but I think it's okay." "Oh, Britt, do you really?" "Sure, Mom. It'll be hard to see you go out with somebody other than Daddy." Guilt stabbed at Dana. "But at least I know Mr. Gill. I think it was harder when you were going out with some strange man. I used to imagine you with a real big ugly dude like Brutus from Popeyes." Dana laughed. "So," Brittany said, wide-eyed curiosity, "do you think you two will get married?" "Oh, no, Brittany, I don't. Like I said before, we're just having a lot of fun together. Marriage is something that comes after you've known a person for a long time. You don't go out on a few dates and then decide to get married." "Okay, I was just thinking that if you and Mr. Gill got married, me and Vanessa would be sisters." Brittany flashed a slightly crooked grin. "Wouldn't that be neat?" Gill called before she'd been home an hour. "I just wanted to make sure Brittany got in all right." "Oh, yes, she's fine. It's good to have her home again. I told her about us." "You did?" "I hadn't planned to, but she gave me an opening, and I stepped into it. She took it surprisingly well." "That gives me hope that Vanessa will do the same. Listen, I know you're afraid after that long drive to Orlando and back, but I hope I can see you tomorrow." We could have an early dinner after work and you'll be home well before dark. I'd love to. Where shall we meet? The line went silent. Meet? I thought that since Brittany knows about us, that you would come to the house and pick me up, Dana finished. I understand, but I'm not quite ready for that yet. I don't mind telling Brittany that I'll be out with you, but just because she says it's okay with her for us to be dating doesn't mean she's ready to actually see it. I don't get it, Dana. Why is he rushing her? What's going on? She hesitated. She said something about it being hard to imagine me with anyone but her daddy. I want to go slow, Gil. Brittany has accepted the finality of death, but I like to prevent her from having any delayed grief reaction from seeing you and me together as a couple. You say that like you know a little about it. I've accepted that Kenny is gone, Gil. Dana thought it's best not to say how she still got the blues, but if Kenny were still here, everything would be all right. Lament. Especially when money ran tight. Gil wouldn't understand that it stemmed from the struggle to make it on her own. He would see it as her still being in love with her deceased husband. Well, part of her would always belong to Kenny, but she's been touched by death enough times in her life to know it was permanent. But I grieved off and on for years when my mother and sister were killed. I was younger then, and when you're younger, it's harder. Besides, I lost my mother. I didn't get to have her around for the important events in my life. Getting married, having Brittany, things like that. As happy as Kenny and I were together, there's always been a hole in my life because she wasn't with me. I think I understand. I'm 42 and know I'm lucky to still have both my parents. All right, why don't we meet down in San Marco? That's convenient for you, isn't it? Yes, how about La Napoliera? La Napoliera it is. Dana hung up with a satisfied sign. Things were looking up. Not only did Brittany accept her relationship with Gil, but Gil understood her reasons for not wanting to flaunt their affair in front of her. His stubbornness on the same subject had almost prevented their relationship from ever getting off the ground. That's the second red flag about your baby girl. But she knew that the key to her continued happiness rested with a 13-year-old child, for if Vanessa wasn't happy with Dana's involvement with Gil, things were about to get very unpleasant. Chapter 29. At 6 o'clock, Norrell poured herself a vodka and grapefruit juice, her second drink of the day. She poured herself one at 4 o'clock just to reward herself for getting so much done. Now she took a second break after marinating 2 ribeye steaks, preparing a tossed salad, and scrubbing 2 Idaho bacon potatoes in preparation for microwave. Vic usually called just before he left the office, and that advance notice allowed her to have dinner practically ready when he walked in. The drink was to congratulate herself on staying on top of all of it. She managed to get another half dozen documents proof before Vic called to announce he was on his way home. By the time he arrived, Norrell had just removed the steaks from the broiler, the potato had another 3 minutes to go in the microwave, the salad sat in a glass bowl on a table, and she sipped her third drink. After dinner, Vic said, "That was great, Norrell. I like that marinade. Caribbean jerk, I think it was. I'll have to look at the bottle. Hey, did we have anything planned for Friday night?" "Not that I know of. What were you thinking of doing?" "Would you mind if I invited Dana and Cece and Lynn over Friday night?" "Who's Lynn?" "Lynn Phillips. My old friend from when we were kids. Remember her father died a couple of weeks ago and you went to the wake with me?" "Oh yeah, now I remember. No, I don't mind. What's the occasion? Is it somebody's birthday?" "There isn't one, other than I haven't gotten together with my friends in ages. When I said goodbye to Lynn, I promised I'd call her soon. It's been 3 weeks and I haven't done it yet." I think it would be nice to invite her over, and since I'm having her over, I figured why not invite Dana and Cece as well? Our relationship had changed since we started CDN. We've become less friends and more business partners. I think we need to spend some social time together like we used to. Are you sure you want to be around Cece? She bristled. Why wouldn't I? Thick sign. Don't give me that BS, Norrell. I know it's hard for you to be around Cece because she's having a baby and you can't. She flinched at his blunt assessment. Well, you asked. Now she wished she'd gone along with the program instead of pretending she didn't know what he meant. They already been over it during a recent argument in which Vic pointed out that her drinking had accelerated since she learned about Cece's pregnancy, and she couldn't bear hearing that again. I'm fine with it, she said. We had a nice talk the other week at Dana's. We kind of called a truce. Cece and I have been friends for a long time, Vic. I was there when her first marriage broke up. She was there when my mother died. Yes, it's hard for me to see her having another baby when I can't even have one, but I have to learn to live with it. I agree. Go ahead and have your friends over. I'll probably go out and play cards with the guys or something so I don't have to listen to a bunch of women cackling. She pretended to be insulted. We don't cackle. We laugh like ordinary people. But I'll understand if you prefer not to be around us. I hope you're finished for today, he said as she brought their plates to the dishwasher. I thought I'd go back up and work for another hour or so. The new hires are helping a lot, but we really need more staff. She noticed his frown. I know you don't like it when I work after dinner, Vic. It can't be helped, at least not right now. We've got to stay on top of our work so we can accommodate the new hospital account. I don't see you all day, Norrell. I don't think I'm asking too much for you to spend your evenings with me. I'm trying to be more of a morning person, wake up before dawn like Dana and Cece do, but I've never been an early bird. You might find getting up earlier easier if you laid off the Smirnoff and the ooh. Her lower lip set determinedly. You make it sound like I'm a lush or something. I resent that, Vic. He rose from the table and stood on the other side of the counter so he could face her. Norrell, I know you're drinking more these days. 3 months ago, you worked a lot and drank a little. Now you work a lot and drink a lot. Like I said before, it started getting real bad when you found out about Cece's pregnancy. This is only my second drink today, Norrell stated the lie boldly, but she didn't know what else to say in her defense. Damn it, Vic just wouldn't let up on her. Couldn't he see how hard she was trying to cope with Cece's coming baby? Why did he try all the time to get her to admit how much it hurt that Cece, who already had more kids than she knew what to do with, was having yet another while she had none? Nada, zilch. Didn't he know how much it pained her? Maybe, he said, but by the time you go to bed tonight, a third of the bottle will be gone. I'll come to bed feeling amorous and well, I can't say you're out of it, but it would be nice to know that you realize it's me who's making you feel so good. Two complete strangers can fuck each other and feel like a million, Norrell. It's the intimacy between them, their bond, that makes it special. With you lately, there's been none. And he's telling his truth. She tossed a crumpled napkin into the trash. I'm glad you let us enjoy our dinner before you started in on me. He slapped the countertop with his palm. Damn it, Norrell, why don't you get that I'm not your enemy? I've got work to do, she said coldly. I'll clean up here later. She headed for the stairs on slightly wobbled legs. When she returned an hour and a half later, he was gone. She had a pretty good idea where he'd gone. The beaches area had no shortage of bars. It was just a question of which one. Not that she was about to go running after him. Norrell knew she'd driven him away. She hated it when she acted like this. She felt so useless. Sure, CDN was thriving, but it would never be anything more than a regional transcription service, providing her with a moderate income. But even if she were to become wildly successful, like the industry giant Medquist, it wouldn't be enough to fill the hole in her heart, and Vic would never understand. Norrell loaded the dishwasher and did a quick wipe down of the counters and microwave. Before starting the dishwasher, she tossed in the kitchen sponge. The dishwasher hummed and the kitchen smelled lemony clean, but she was all alone, for Vic hadn't returned. She took a fresh highball glass from the cabinet and poured herself another drink, a double. Chapter 30. Dana awoke feeling anxious the day Vanessa came home from Miami. Gil had arrived to meet her at the airport with Irene. She waited as long as she could stand it before calling him at home. He had to be back by now. So how'd it go? Dana asked Gil. Her flight was on time. She had a good time. That's not what I mean, Gil. The minute Vanessa went up to her room, Irene asked me if you and I were still seeing each other. And she didn't like my answer. Oh, I'm sorry, Dana. I know this makes things difficult for you because of Brittany's friendship with Vanessa. It's not your fault. I was the one who blurted it out about us to Irene in the first place. Yes, but from the way she's behaving, I really don't think it would have made a difference in her reaction whether she learned earlier or later. Dana began to wonder if she should be more concerned about Irene than she was. Gil made it sound serious. Come on, Gil. Don't you think she'll get over it after a few weeks? Dana, now would you? If Kenny was alive and somebody you didn't like started dating him, would you be over it? No, Dana, I don't think so. I was married to Irene for a long time. I know how she is. Well, did you get to talk to Vanessa at all about us? I had to tell her in front of Irene. She wouldn't give me a moment alone with Vanessa. Dana's heart thumped so loudly she thought it would come out of her chest. How'd she take it? It was definitely a surprise. She asked Irene if this was a surprise she told her about. So all Irene told Vanessa was that you had a surprise for her. That would be too simple. She intimidated it wasn't a good surprise, so the seed has already been planted. Vanessa said she thought her mother and I were going to get back together. And she asked why I was going out with you. Dana swallowed hard. Why did she think you and Irene were going to reconcile? Because Irene had been sharing her hopes with our daughters. Ooh! Imagine a grown woman confiding in a child. I think she needs to remember that Vanessa is her daughter, not her friend. So Irene does want you back. He signed. I don't want to sound like an egomaniac, but Irene fought the divorce from the very beginning. She's a very controlling, manipulative woman, Dana. Always has been. The only reason we got married in the first place was because she got pregnant with Vanessa, accidentally on purpose, as they say. Okay, so there's the answer, their divorce. I tried to make the best of it, he continued, but being with someone out of a sense of duty isn't the same as being with them because you're madly in love. As time went on, I felt more and more unhappy. I'm afraid I wasn't faithful. Irene sensed it, and she became more of a shrew. She said that if I left, she'd make me pay through the nose for Vanessa. That's a natural reaction for most women when they've been hurt, to strike back at their husband in the pocketbook. But most women don't stay angry for long. Irene does. Hell have no fury, Dana said quietly. Be careful now. Dana noticed Brittany's dejected expression right away. What's wrong, Britt? I called Vanessa again. I've been trying to reach her since she came back from her grandparents, but she always says she couldn't talk because she was busy. Oh. Apprehension stabbed at Dana's gut. Oh, that sounds strange. I thought so too, so I called her again, and she said she doesn't think she can be friends with me because of what you've done to her mother. Oh, what I've done? Vanessa says that you've taken Mr. Gill away from her mother and that he and her mother were about to get back together until you came into the picture. Oh! Dana withdrew her breath sharply in shock. No, Brittany, that's not true. Vanessa's parents were divorced well before Gil and I looked at each other. Irene may have convinced herself that reconciliation was right around the corner, but Gil had no intention of going back to her. We discussed it, and I believe him. Well, I don't think it's fair for you to go out with him if it means Vanessa and I won't be friends anymore. Brittany half spoke and half cried the words, "Oh." Dana held out her arms. As she stroked her daughter's hair, she said softly, "I'm so sorry, Brittany. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. You see, Gil and I agreed that he would be the one to tell Irene about us. And I blabbed it to Irene when she came over one day to pick up a piece of clothing Vanessa left over here. I thought she would take it well, but she was furious. Vanessa is in a difficult situation," she continued. "She sees her mother is hurt and she blames me, largely because her mother told her it was my fault, even though it isn't. So try not to be too hard on her. I'm sure she'll come around. But we've been friends our whole lives, Mommy. It isn't fair for her not to want to be friends anymore because of you and Mr. Gill. Can't you just stop seeing him?" Oh, see? I told you it was not a good idea, Dana, to be dating Gil because of Vanessa and Brittany's friendship. Oh, and Irene. Dana pulled back a little and forced Brittany to look up. "I can't do that, Brittany. You see, Gil and I have come to care for each other quite a bit." "You mean love? Like with Daddy?" "I don't think I'd say I'm in love, but I feel I owe it to myself to find out what might happen." "But what about me? I haven't done anything wrong. Why should I lose my best friend because of what you're doing?" Dana swallowed hard. "Brittany, I'm not doing anything wrong either. Gil and I are both single adults. We're free to see each other. Vanessa has simply been manipulated by her mother into breaking off her friendship with you. I know it's not fair, but all I can ask is that you be patient. Vanessa will come around. In the meantime, you do have other friends." "But it won't be the same, Mommy," Brittany sobbed. Dana's arms tightened around her daughter and she breathed deeply. For a moment, she considered breaking it off with Gil, but then she realized that really wouldn't help Brittany. The damage had already been done. Vanessa wouldn't suddenly come prancing back into Brittany's life if she stopped seeing Gil. Maybe she shouldn't even tell Brittany that Vanessa would come around because she might not. A friendship that seemed destined to last a lifetime might be over for good. She didn't know how she could live with herself for the part she played in the end. That's the end of chapter 30. Ooh, I saw that coming. Cece saw that coming. She told her not to do it. I understand, Dana, you lonely and you need companionship, but that was a little too close. Gil is a little too close for comfort. First of all, he helped you get the loan. Second of all, he's the father of your daughter's best friend. And then third of all, association with his ex-wife. You knew she nasty. You knew Irene's attitude, and now she done messed up their friendship with Vanessa and Brittany. Now, I don't know. I've never been in that situation, so I can't comment on that. I think I just wouldn't have done it in the first place. Like, it was entirely too close for comfort, and it was bound to happen. This was bound to happen. So that's the 5 chapters I said I was going to read. Should I suck it up and just keep reading the book? We have 22 more chapters to go. Y'all let me know in the section in the comment sections below if I should just keep on going. Or if you see another chapter, that's me just keep on going. I'm going to just chalk it up and see how this book ends. All right, so I'm going to see y'all in chapter 31. Bye.